Hi, friends. Sorry I'm a little late. Welcome back to Live with the Roxy. I don't like this day. I don't like it. I understand that therapy vent session doesn't happen until Wednesdays, and today we're talking television, and I will talk about The Last of Us season 2, episode 5, and I will talk about Andor episodes 7, 8, and 9, and I will talk about Your Friends and Neighbors because I just binged and caught up to Where We Are, which is the John Hamm show, and I will talk about Handmaid's Tale and Hacks and Mobland and The Rehearsal and all of the shows that we watch and things that you watch. I will talk about all that momentarily because first I just have to talk about a couple other things. But don't you worry, I will talk about The Last of Us in a few minutes. In the meantime, a little business up top, a little housekeeping. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Right now, I've been going live on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights on this channel. I think you guys are liking me going live more regularly because that is reflecting in the Streamlabs. That's how I know. So streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in if you want me to continue doing TV Sundays and whatever Wednesdays. Then send in that support. I really appreciate it. Okay. Mother's Day just like bites, man. I mean, it's not fair and it's not true for a lot of people. And I don't want anybody to ever feel bad about it being a good day for them because I want it to be a good day for you. There's nothing worse than, I'm not a misery loves company girl. I don't want other people to not like today. I hope people have a great relationship with their mom or our mom and have a great relationship with their kid. And those people are alive and well, and you guys have a great day. This episode of The Last of Us felt like a Father's Day episode, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's just brutal. So today I woke up and I spent the day solo. I worked. I was editing videos all morning, and then I went on I drove to Grammy's even though she's not there, but I just wanted to be a little closer to my mom. So I sat outside and then I went on a walk and I got a smoothie. And then I walked some more. And then I sat inside and did more video editing and time codes. And then I came home and watched The Last of Us. And now here I am. So it's not the worst day in the world, but just like I miss my fucking mom. I can't believe all these years later. I just can't believe she's not here. 14 years and she's still not here. Like, surprise, surprise, she didn't come back. So, because that's not how death works. Anyway, so I don't love today. But let me tell you guys, I was the #1 fundraiser for the National Brain Tumor Society for the second year in a row because of you. So thank you for that. Yesterday, I did the 5K. I raised over $8,000. We raised $150,000 for the event, a little more than that, I believe. A lot of my friends came out to walk, people that you guys know, Greg from Real Rejects, Haley and Jess, and I'm trying to think people you guys know from this channel, Candace, who isn't always Lola with me. I think Ashley, you guys know from the AfterBuzz days. My friend Sarah from the AfterBuzz days, a friend of mine from college, her 2-year-old. It was just a really fun, nice way to spend the weekend. But between doing that and the emotions of being around a lot of people who have lost people because of brain cancer, and then having Mother's Day the next day, it was just like a heavy weekend. So I went out last night and I got so stoned. I mean, I was buzzing. And that was the right choice because I actually had a really nice night. I went out with my friend Candace and some fun things happened that I will tell you about on the Wednesday show. So stay tuned to that. But today we are going to talk about TV. Just was giving you guys a little bit up top so you know what my state is going into all of this stuff, reviews and conversations about television. Like I said, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. If you are new to YouTube or to this channel, you might not know already, but Streamlabs is how creators prefer to get paid because YouTube takes about 50%. So we always prefer if you go over to streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, right over there, what you're watching this week, what your best of the week was, what shows you didn't like, chime in on the conversation, but feel free to super chat in if you can't figure out Streamlabs. I know that some people struggle with it. All right. Here we go. One more time. Everybody feeling fine. I am going to start by talking about The Last of Us. I am going to go like this when I am done with The Last of Us spoilers, but full disclosure, The Last of Us tends to take up the vast majority of our Sunday shows recently because it airs right before this. It's the show that I'm most interested in right now. So we will have conversations about a bunch of stuff after that, but don't come back until I do this if you don't want spoilers on The Last of Us season 2, episode 5. That's what I just watched. So those spoilers are going to start now. For the chat, you guys remember, here's what you're allowed to spoil in the chat. Anything that has happened up until this point in the show. You are not allowed to spoil things that happen in the future in the games. That's a spoiler that you will be banned for life on the channel. And just before anybody goes, maybe you already went, but if you're having a hard day today because it's Mother's Day for any plethora of reasons, you do not speak to your mom, you don't speak to your kids, you don't have a mom, you don't remember your mom is dead, or you are trying to be a mom and you just can't get pregnant or care, whatever it is, you haven't found the right person, whatever reason it's hard for you today, my heart is with you. My heart is with you. All right. So let's get into it with The Last of Us. Sound off in the chat right now. Is everybody in the chat watched The Last of Us season 2, episode 5? It's interesting that this has become appointment viewing for a lot of us. It's not like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. It is like, a new episode of The Last of Us just dropped. I know where I'm going to be. 6 o'clock, I'm sitting down. I'm watching the show. This is must-see TV for me, even after what happened with Joel. So it's kind of wild that they still have me by the throat. I'm also covering this for Real Rejects. So if you want my full watch-along breakdown, all of that, then check out Real Rejects. On Sunday nights, they do the gamer reaction. On Mondays, the one that I'm on is the non-gamer reaction. Okay. So here we go. Beat by beat, we're going to go through The Last of Us. All right, my dudes. This was an interesting episode. I would say my overall thoughts on this episode is that anger is a hell of a drug, kids. It is wild when you cannot let something go, which is one of my worst and best qualities, what it can do to your soul and your actions and what you might lose in the process if you are so tunnel vision about something that you cannot see left or right. This is what we're watching. It's what we're watching on the planet. It seems like we're reading about a new war breaking out every single day in actual life. I'm not just talking about the Israeli-Hamas war. I'm not just talking about Ukraine and Russia. I'm not just talking about the mass amount of, I don't know whether they've been qualified as wars or what you want to, conflicts all over Africa, Sudan. I'm not just talking, but now with India and Pakistan, it is just so disturbing to watch humans destroying humans during any time period. And I think that what's interesting about apocalypse shows in general is that we watch even when there is a greater evil. We still watch humans be the greatest evil. We still watch humans killing humans, humans after humans. That's what it still boils down to. We have real life monsters in this show. The cordyceps. And yet this still comes down to human versus human. It's like, what do we do as a society to break that cycle? and this media just further demonstrates it. It's like just crazy how it's if it was just us versus natural disaster, us versus outside forces, that would be one thing, but it's all of those things, and then it's us versus us versus us. And that's why The Last of Us. But okay, going in, I'm going to go in depth on my thoughts on every single bit, but I did think that this episode was phenomenally done. It made me almost forget momentarily how upset with the show I am because of what they did with Joel, but I'll never forget. But it did get me fully invested in a couple characters, and again, we'll break that down, but I wanna go to the Streamlabs first, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Jamal says, "Loving The Last of Us, was catching up on The Rookie. I was 3 seasons behind, loving Andor, and I'm locked in." Okay, locked in. I will talk about my journey with Andor in a little bit. Appreciate you, Jamal. Thank you for that. And I'm glad you're loving The Last of Us. RQMDSMD in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, "Hi, Roxy. Just sending some support. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for that support. You rock." To anybody else who has questions, comments, concerns, or support that they would like to send, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Here we go. Okay. Elise says that she killed everyone, including Leon, essentially. You're watching this unravel. You're watching these two women across the table from each other. And it, I think this was shot very interestingly because we're like, who's in the wrong here? Do we trust either of these people? Do we like either of these people? Are these both demon people? Like, we don't know these people. We don't know what they're capable of. We don't know anything. But then hearing this story unfold where Elise had to make the unbelievable difficult decision to essentially not allow her son to escape because she sent him down there and he ends up breathing in all of the cordyceps. It was absolutely heartbreaking to hear this story. It also was interesting to watch how quickly we were jumping down her throat until we let her explain. And then it's like, oh, but now she's this hero. This was an interrogation scene. This felt like an episode of some kind of like SVU or something. It was just felt so different. And in this world where we're seeing that with our people back in Wyoming, we've got, like the public court, right? Where everybody comes and then there's the judges on the table and the people pitch things and they make the decisions or whatever you want to call the council, whatever you want to call it. So there's just new forms of how things look now that we're in this time period, and every society is going to make their different rules, and this is like their version of an interrogation. How did all these people die? What went down? How did you do this? And so I thought that was an interesting dynamic. For the cordyceps patients in 03, we find out that's when the first cordyceps patients were there in 03. And I thought this was relevant because this comes up to something later on. So let me just flag to you guys that the first cordyceps that they found were in 2003. I believe in the video games, it wasn't until later, but in the TV show, they made this in 2003. So I'll tell you why that's relevant later on in a second. Actually, you know what? I'll just tell you now. We're going to jump around. So let me just tell you now. So we get to this moment where Ellie is on stage after she's talked to Dina, which I'll go back and speak about. But Ellie is on stage and she starts performing in the auditorium and she starts singing "If I Ever Were to Lose You," Future Days, Pearl Jam. We just hear the first little bit and I was like, is that Pearl Jam? And then I started thinking to myself, and I don't know if this is relevant or if you guys care about this stuff or if your brain works this way at all in this way, or if this is just my psychotic brain that is, makes everything totally relevant that doesn't have to happen to be relevant. But the song "Future Days" by Pearl Jam came out in 2013. So I'm like, am I to believe that Pearl Jam remained a band? That despite the cordyceps coming in 2003, that being when we hit apocalypse days, that then a decade later, we have a song from Pearl Jam? Pearl Jam stay together. Pearl Jam was like, yes, we understand that we are in this crazy apocalypse time. But if I ever were to lose you, and then I was like, was this just a song in the game? And they forgot that they changed the years of the game to be in the years of the. So that was just something that immediately when I was watching this for Real Rejects, I didn't say anything about it because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I know this song, but I don't know the year of the song, but I feel like it was more recent than that. And then when I went home and then just now looked it up, I was like, yeah, that song was, and I haven't looked on Twitter, so I don't know if anybody's talking about this or if this is relevant in any way, but a 2013 song. If Pearl Jam is still together in this apocalyptic world, if we still have Pearl Jam, I'm gonna want them on the show. Let's do a concert. Pearl Jam comes to perform. Everybody watches Pearl Jam perform. And the takeaway is art and love are so important. Man, we got to stop killing each other. Rock and roll bands have a way of doing this. They have a way of reminding people that killing is not good. It's not good. You don't want people to kill people. So, okay, Pearl Jam, come perform a show. And let's see what's up. And again, this isn't our planet. We had AHA Take On Me last week, which makes sense, but this isn't our planet. And so this could be an alt timeline, alt reality. It is our planet in terms of the cities are ours, but I just mean we never hit the apocalypse in 2003. So, yeah, that's how I think one of a couple of things. Number one, it's not that big of a deal. Number two, make it a different song. If this is the song that was in the game, if this isn't the song that's in the game, why'd you choose this song in general? Could be a continuity error, or it could just be them saying, fuck it, we like this song and nobody's going to notice this. And then my little dumbass is like, aha, moo ha ha ha, ha ha. Anyway, just something that I was thinking about when I was watching it. I love Pearl Jam. I love grunge music. You guys know I love rock and roll. I love this time period. So those are my thoughts on that. You guys look at the chat. The answers are in here. Honey, everybody in the chat saying something different from one another. You guys are so funny. Some people are saying the song's important to leave out. Some people are saying the song came out after 2003, but the creators said they will not respect this because the game Pandemic starts 2013, but in this it starts in 2003, so it doesn't fully make sense. Somebody said that they didn't say it was a mistake. They don't care because the song is important to the game, but then somebody else said the creators are aware but decided they didn't care because it's too good of a song that is relevant to the story. Yeah. Anyway, so because of all of this, remember, no spoilers on the game in here, but because of all of this, I obviously started doing a deep dive because I was like, if it's any of the things that I'm thinking, it's got to be. I don't think that they could have just made a mistake on this because there's full people on productions to deal with continuity and whatever it is. So I looked up the lyrics of this song, a song that I know, but I was like, okay, let me just see if this might be relevant to the story. And here we go. If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself. Everything I have found dear, I've not found by myself. Try and sometimes you'll succeed. To make this man of me, all my stolen missing parts, I've no need for anymore. I believe, and I believe because I can see our future days of you and me. Back when I was feeling broken, I focused on a prayer. You came deep as any ocean, did something out there here. All the complexities and games, no one wins, but somehow they're still played. All the missing crooked hearts, they may die, but in us, they live on. I believe and I believe because I can see our future days of you and me. when hurricane and cyclones raged, when wind turned dirt to dust, when floods came or tides they raised, even closer became us. As the promise at sundown, I've meant them like the rest. All the demons used to come round. I'm grateful now that they've left. All the demons used to come round. Grateful now that they left. So persistent in my ways. Hey, angel, I'm here to stay. No resistance, no alarms. Please, this is just too good to be gone. Okay, so it's interesting to look at these lyrics because while, of course, right now, the couple on the show is Ellie and Dina. But this is clearly an Ellie and Joel moment. She goes there. She's singing. Anything to do with the guitar is an Ellie and Joel thing. He taught her how to play. We know that even though in the aha moment, Take On Me, while she's performing for Dina and Dina is realizing her love for her in that moment, it's still a moment about Ellie and Joel because that is their bond. Music, the guitar. So anytime we see the guitar, I'm going to assume that the show is trying to tell us something about Ellie and Joel. If I were ever to lose you, I'd surely lose myself is clearly what we have seen here, right? Ellie lost Joel, and now she is losing herself. And we see that in this episode, which we will get to, as she starts talking about her, when we end up finding Nora, and she's talking about, we find out the big reveal that she knew what Joel had done. And we had a theory this whole time that she knew what Joel had done. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, you now are becoming the very thing you hate. You hate Abby. You hate what you did. Here you are with this thing in your hand, bashing Nora. If I ever lose you, I'll lose myself. And it does look like that has happened. And she's given herself to what she believes is a greater cause. That's a very big theme throughout this episode as we hear the story with Dina, which we will discuss. But she says, everything I have found, dear, I've not found by myself. It's like she's using Joel as her North Star, her guiding light. And I don't know that Joel's a good North Star. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be the exact same way that she is, but I think the best of humanity would not be. The best of humanity is able to let things go and move on. I can't do it. I so far have not in my life been able to let things go. It's something that I really struggle with. And I watch Ellie and I honestly relate to Ellie. And I'm watching the journey, but you watch her not be the best version of herself because she's out here trying to avenge Joel as the guiding light. It's interesting. Back when I was feeling broken, I focused on a prayer. She's not feeling well right now. She's broken, right? But her prayer is of finding Abby and destroying her because she thinks that's what will help. But we all know, watching this show, say that tomorrow she finds Abby and she kills her. Is that the end of it? Is that where the cycle ends? Absolutely not. It's not a real prayer. What you're praying for is for Joel to come back. And that's impossible. He never will because he's gone. So it's not a real prayer. All the complexities in games, no one wins, but somehow they're still played. First of all, the meta-ness, because this is a game, literally a video game. The complexities in games. You killed one of mine. We killed one of yours. You chased us to find you. It wasn't just about killing. It was about brutalizing, right? Like in both scenarios. No one wins. No one wins. That's for sure. In The Last of Us, in this universe, who is the winner? No one. We haven't seen one person win. No one. All missing crooked hearts, they may die, but in us, they live on. Joel's dead, but in Ellie, he is still here. So I could be reading way too far into this, and I'm sure there's some of you guys listening right now like, rocks, this is really a stretch. This is how I appreciate shows. This is how I like to watch things. I hold on to things that the artists tell us. I look at little Easter eggs, and I'm like, what did they mean by this? And if you're going to drop a Pearl Jam song in there, that takes place in 2013 when we know the cordyceps came in 2003, I'ma think that something is there for a reason. And I'ma dig and dig and dig, just like I just did. I believe, because I can see our future days of you and me. Does that mean that Ellie is going to have the same fate as Joel? Days of you and me, future days. Joel's in one place and one place only. So if there's a future days of Joel and Ellie, what does that mean for Ellie? Because I can see our future days. Now, that could be metaphorical, because what it could mean, of course, is that she somehow lets all this go and she gets to keep Joel with her, and the future days are Ellie with Joel in her heart. Does that sound like what this show does? Doesn't seem like it to me. All right, so now that I've spent 20 minutes breaking down the lyrics to a Pearl Jam song, let's continue with the episode. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in. Would love to know your guys' questions, comments, concerns, thoughts of The Last of Us, or anything that you watched this week on this Sunday night. Thank you for spending your Mother's Day evening with me. I appreciate you guys. It is a challenging day, so also send in words of support for me and all of the Mother's Day strugglers out there. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to super chat in this as well, but Streamlabs are more appreciated, as a higher percentage of the finances go to the creator. Sexy Andrew in the super chat. Andrew Thomas says, hey, Sexy Roxy, congrats on the fundraising for the brain cancer research from your professional Facebook page. Congrats on Celtics on finally winning a game against the Celtics. Thank you. That is TV news, because I did watch it on TV. Thank goodness for game 3, because game 1 and 2 were brutal. We shall talk about that later on. All right, let's continue. So going back to watching Dina do all the math and access everything, just further proves what I was talking about last week. Dina be smart. Dina is smart cookie. Dina is absolute fire. I am obsessed with her character. I love watching what a gangster she is. I think it was amazing to see her at her work, like, triangulating and figuring out where to go. Hysterical line, like, Ellie's like, what am I, stupid? And she's like, you're non-school oriented, which is exact. A lot of us are non-school oriented. Dina is just stealing the show for me right now. I love her, love her, love her. We get this. Okay, you guys are going to be annoyed with me again, but here I go with my Detective Roxy. There's a question. Ellie's like, what are you going to name the baby? Ellie or Elijah is what Dina says. And then Ellie's like, really? Dina's like, definitely not. What? Of course not. All right, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Is this foreshadowing? The only way that this baby is named after Ellie is if Ellie dies and this baby lives. That is the only world in which this baby has the name Ellie or Elijah. So were we just given a little hint about the fact that this baby might survive and Ellie might die, and this baby is going to come out little baby Elijah? Just a little Easter egg that I'm like, it's not an Easter egg. Foreshadowing. It feels like that was relevant. Could have just been small banter, but I certainly picked up on it. Okay. Ellie panicking about Dina being there, I thought was really nice to see, because it's really hitting Ellie the weight of her choices. But Dina's response was so unbelievable that it almost had me convinced that this is the right thing to do. So Dina tells the story about the first person that she killed, and that it was a raider who had just killed her sibling and her mom. She was 8 years old when she shot him. She was 8 and she shot him. And she says that no matter what Joel did, that he didn't deserve to die like that. And she said, what if my mom and sister were beaten to death in front of me? Would it make a difference if my family had hurt his people first? I promise you, I would have hunted him down forever. She says it with so much conviction and gusto that I'm like, yup, that's the right thing to do. That is the right thing to do. And then I'm like, wait a second. No, it's not. Oh my God, Dina, you just convinced me that this is the right journey and that you and Ellie should go try to kill Abby. When in my heart, I know that's the wrong thing to do, but in my brain, I know it's the wrong thing to do. But in my soul, I'm like, yeah, let's go get her. Sick 'em. I would have hunted them. Come on. I promise you, I would have hunted him down forever. And I believe it from her. I thought that was a perfect delivery, perfect line. I hope that's the exact line in the game. And she says, I'll go back if you want, and I'll keep going if you want. There's no right answer. If I die, it's on me. I think this was very important words for Ellie to hear. Because if Dina does die, is Ellie going to blame herself? Yes, of course. There's no world in which she doesn't. But she will have the flashback of this moment. She will have this moment. And Ellie says she makes the choice that might put the nail in either one or both of their coffins, which is keep going. Because let's just talk about the alternative for a second. What Ellie and Dina could do here is Ellie and Dina could turn around and go back to Jackson. What happens if Ellie and Dina go back to Jackson? They'll never interact with the wolves ever again. The wolves did their job. They're not coming back for you. We know that. Otherwise they would have killed you on sight. So if they went back, she could have her baby. They could live out their days. But Ellie says the words, keep going, which means that she is like Dina. She is not able to let this go. She cannot. And even though we watch her kind of wish she could, she can't, at least not in this moment in time. So we keep going. Will those be words that end up haunting us? I guess we will see. Let me know your guys' thoughts as we break down this episode. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. We're talking about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 5, deep diving in to what we just saw. No spoilers on the future of the game. Just talking about the episode. Okay. So we don't see, I had a conversation with Christian Harloff on his show this week where he was like, I'm bummed that he was more than bummed. He seemed very annoyed that we didn't get to have a conversation between Dina and Ellie about the specifics of what happened to Ellie so that she is immune. And if Joel knew what the extent of the immunity is. And so we didn't get to see that last week. I was expecting to see that this week. However, this isn't taking place immediately after that. We see the triangulation. We know that there's been time. So it is possible that this was an off-screen conversation. And if it was an off-screen conversation, I think it's valid, but do I wish that we did get to see a more thorough breakdown conversation? Yeah, I kind of do wish that. But do I assume that they had it? Yes, except for one key thing that I picked up on later on. So later on, when we see Ellie reveal, when we see them with the what do we call the smart cordyceps? We see them with the smart cordyceps, and Ellie says, like, oh yeah, like you're the one immune, so you should go in there to Dina before they get to the smart cordyceps. And Dina's like, good point. So Ellie goes in, but then we end up seeing them with the smart cordyceps. And Ellie is like, oh yeah, I know what these are because I faced them in the market. Dina's like, you killed them. She's like, not before it bit me. And Dina's like, you got bit in the market? which makes me think that we didn't, they're called the stalkers, thank you, which makes me think that we didn't have a full breakdown of it, because if we had had a full breakdown, wouldn't Ellie have already told Dina that the stalker bit her in the market? Wouldn't Dina have said, tell me every time you've ever been bit? And then Ellie would break it down. So the fact that we learn that now makes me think, maybe they never had an in-depth conversation about this. And if they didn't have an in-depth conversation about this, why not? Why isn't Dina asking questions? And is that relevant to the story? Because it's not very much like her personality to not ask intense questions. We've found out she's the smartest person in every room she's in. This girl is a freaking genius. So you'd think she'd want to gather as much information as possible, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know that Ellie was bit in the market. So it was just something that kind of stood out to me. Okay, so let's see. This was a whole crazy sequence. The smart ones, the stalkers, are so freaky looking. The stakes are very high on the show. Why are the stakes so high on the show? The stakes are so high on the show because we know we could lose any character at any time. How do we know that? Because Joel. So when I'm looking at the show, I'm like, Ellie's not safe. Dina's not safe. I don't think they're safe because Joel wasn't safe. Joel, I felt too safe with. It felt like we were going to make it to the end. I never questioned it. Once I found out otherwise, now I'm looking at everything. So when we have the stalker situation, I'm now always watching thinking, oh my God, somebody could die here. And so every scene feels high stakes. What ends up happening though? Jesse, my guy, Jesse, further proving my point that Jesse's hot. You know what hot people do? They save your life. Jesse's so hot. I love Jesse. Jesse's my man. Jesse comes in for the save. And they are so lucky he did, because without Jesse coming in this moment, does everybody agree they're both dead? Not just Dina, Ellie too, because she can survive a bite. That doesn't mean that she's immune to everything. There were so many of them, and she could be stuck in there, starve, be smashed to death. Without Jesse, everybody gone. Hot people save lives. Run that ad campaign, Last of Us. What are you guys' thoughts? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Send them in. Only Jamal and RQMD SMD so far today. What is going on? If you want me to continue doing these Sunday TV shows, then let me know by sending in Streamlabs. Let me know what you think about The Last of Us. What are the shows you watched this week? What the best and the worst of TV viewing was this week? We will be talking about Andor, Your Friends and Neighbors, as well as a bunch of other streaming shows that are on right now. So send in that support. Thank you so much. Okay. So this is what we see. Jesse comes, and then we've got, I thought we were dealing with creepy with the stalkers. Now we get creepier. What could be creepier than the stalkers? Them hammer scars. Y'all keep telling me the name of them, but for me, they're forever the hammer scars. So we just be hanging people up and cutting out their insides for funsies these days. Bleh. Watching that was disgusting. What are the ramifications of Dina being shot in the leg? I'm super curious how long this lasts in this world. Like, this is not the kind of world that not being able to walk is going to be, well, especially while she is where she is going to be anything other than a hindrance. Like, if she cannot run, she could not do or get away with any of the things that she did in the last couple of episodes. So how long does it take this to heal? And I don't know if the show is going to be realistic like this, if they're going to just claim like, just a little Band-Aid can fix the problem, or if she needs to heal, because this was ow, brutal. Meanwhile, Ellie finds herself in the hospital because we see that she sees a way to Abby. Tunnel vision. She cannot, her blinders are on, and she is like, where's Abby? Where's Abby? Where's Abby? Where's Abby? Where's Abby? She's not thinking about Dina. She's not thinking about Jesse. She's not thinking about Tommy, who we know is out there that we're meeting up in the morning. She is thinking about vengeance for Joel. Where's Abby? Where's Abby? Where's Abby? Your girlfriend was just shot with an arrow. She is pregnant. Her and Jesse are on the run. Tommy is out there, and you don't give a fuck. All you're thinking about is where is Abby? Now, either you have so much faith in Jesse and Dina that you're like, they got this, nothing to worry about. But you just saw what the hammer scars did. You just saw it. You just know what happened to you and Ellie and Dina when you guys were attacked by the stalkers. And I know initially you were running to give them a distraction. But then you decided to stop being the distraction and go find Abby because you saw your way in. And that's when it stopped being about helping them and went back on the path of vengeance. Again, I can't blame her. I think I probably would have done the same thing, but that's the worst version of myself. Because I fully am like, go get him. Get him, Ellie. Get him. She goes in. We've got a big chase scene with Nora. We end up down into the room with the cordyceps, with the air. Nora essentially has decided to sacrifice herself to take out Ellie when she goes down the elevator because she knows that Ellie will go down with her and that they will both die instead of giving up where Abby is. Which if Nora had just said where Abby was, would Ellie have killed her anyway? That's an interesting question. We know that Nora didn't kill Ellie when she could have. She had her pinned down watching Joel. But I think that based on knowing Ellie, I kind of think she would have killed Nora anyway. If Nora had said, this is where Abby is, and Ellie's like, tell me where she is, and I'll maybe let you live. Would she have let her live? What do you think? Yes or no? If Nora had just said, this is where Abby is, would Ellie have let Nora live? Yes or no? Curious how far gone we think Ellie is in this moment. How much she's seeing red. So we get down into the world of the cordyceps. This is one of the coolest sets we've ever seen. The art design, the set, this floor of the cordyceps being in the air with the people like stuck in the walls, breathing in air, breathing out cordyceps. This was so well done, so well designed and executed. It was like a masterclass. Yeah, you guys all don't think she would have let her live. I'm with you. I'm with you. Which is interesting because they did let her live. So there is a difference between them and her at this point in time. So we do get provoked by Nora before the run. She says the little bitch got what he deserved. I felt triggered. I can only imagine how Ellie felt. I felt legitimately triggered. The little bitch got what he deserved. You can't be talking about my Joel. It is not possible that you're talking about my Joel. Right? Because I know you did not just call Joel a little bitch. Now I need you dead. Now I hope you choke on every spore in the world. Now I hope you breathe in the spores and you are just like, hate you. Hate you. You think he's a little bitch? You just told the story about he came into the hospital, he murders everybody and the one doctor who could find the cure. Little bitch or G? I did not like her egging on Ellie in this moment. What is cool is that she clearly has loyalty. And she's just loyal to the wrong person. And honestly, if you take a step back and you're like, Nora was being loyal to the girl whose dad was going to try to find a cure, I understand that maybe it's us that's on the wrong side, but I don't care. I am Team Ellie. I am Team Joel. I am Team Dina. I am Team Tommy. I am Team Jesse. I am Team Maria. I am not Team Wolf or any members. All right. So Nora thinks she's now got this big gotcha moment, like, oh, you idiot, you're gonna die now. And Ellie is like, I'm immune. And Nora knows. She's like, you're her, the immune girl. You're real. It's not just lore, it's not just legend. Imagine meeting this person. You would be mind blown. You would be like, this is a real person who could have possibly saved everybody. So Nora thinks she's pulling something out of her back pocket. And the thing is, Nora knows she's already breathed in all the spores. So Nora's not doing this to save her life. Nora's doing this because she thinks that if there's one last ditch effort to stop Ellie from trying to go after Abby and everybody and to turn Ellie against Joel, that she's going to throw it out there. So Nora does the one thing that we've been waiting for since the second that season 1 ended. Nora tells Ellie what happened. He killed everyone in the hospital, including the only fucking person alive that could make a cure from you. And I am sitting there hanging on every word because at this point, we don't know for sure if Ellie knows this. We don't know if Joel told her, if she feels it in her gut. We just don't know. We see her putting the gun away. And you're wondering, is it possible that this changes the trajectory of the entire show? And Ellie decides to let it go. Because this could be after this, we are past the point of no return. But up until here, it is possible that she finds this news out and she goes home. But in this moment, we flash back, or I do in my mind, to what Dina said. He didn't deserve that, no matter what he did. Would it make a difference if my family had hurt his people first? No. That's what Dina says to Ellie. And so in this moment, I'm thinking to myself, Ellie's smart. We know, not necessarily with the protractor or in school, that Ellie's intuitive. And if she knows anybody on the planet, it is Joel. She knows. And we know when she asks him at the end of season 1, the final episode, she says, tell me that you're telling me the truth. That's really what happened. Everything you said happened. He says, yeah, it is. We could just tell by her face that she knows he's lying. And she knows that she got out of there and that it was a bloodbath. Now, we don't know that she knows the specifics, but all of that is flashing in my mind at this moment. All of it. When she says he killed everyone in that hospital, including the only fucking person alive that could make a cure from you. Like she's a plant. Make a cure from you. And Ellie, this is such a Star Wars, Han Solo, Leia, I love you. What does Ellie say? I know. Whew. This is when the definition of like simple is best. We didn't need a novel from Ellie. We didn't need her to be like, well, I knew part and I had to ask these questions and Joel told me this and whatever. Nora thinks this is going to be this massive reveal. And what do we find out? He did all of this. And she says, I know. Where is Abby? I'm fucking coming for you guys. I don't give a shit what he did. Woof. I mean, who would win? 100 Ellies or a gorilla? Let me give you this. In this moment, 100 gorillas couldn't beat one Ellie. Ellie she is laser focused. And that was just like, damn. My whole soul was shook. I know. And I knew she knew. I just knew it. I knew she knew. Then we go to a moment that I was not expecting. All of this I could kind of see coming. The only reason you're kind of expecting this is that in the intro, when we see all the cordyceps and everything at the end, in season 1, you used to see these silhouettes of these two bodies pop up, Ellie and Joel. Since Joel died, it's just one body that's been popping up in the intro. In this intro, we saw two bodies. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, is Joel going to be in this episode? But the entire episode goes by and we have no Joel. So I'm like, oh, he's just not in the episode. They were just doing some whatever. But I should have known, of course, we saw those two bodies. So we're going to be getting Joel. And so we have this one brief, hey, kiddo, hi exchange. What is this? What's this? What's this? There's magic in the air. What's this? What's this? What is this? Flashback? Dream? Hallucination? So many possibilities. What is this? And then, of course, we're done. And then, of course, we're done. And then that's all she wrote. I'm so excited for next week. Please let this be a Joel episode. Please. I didn't watch previews of next week, so I don't know if it is or isn't. I think this is a flashback. But Ellie was so peaceful seeming in this moment that it felt like a dream sequence. And maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's a flashback, but through her rose-colored glasses of how she remembers him. I don't know. I think that we have to learn what happened in the 5 years that we missed. And so it only makes sense to see flashbacks. But the flashbacks are Ellie's perspective. And so it's like how you remember something happening and how it happened can kind of be a little different because she wakes up with this big smile on her face. So that's why it seemed a little dream eerie-like, which is cool. But I still think we're going to get flashback sequences and we're going to figure out how exactly she knows what happened and what happened between season 1 and the finale and season 2, the premiere, that made Joel and Ellie like this so heavy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And it will be really nice to see it because we get Pedro, which I'm desperate for on this show. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in. What are your thoughts on The Last of Us? I'm going to be waving my hand soon because that is pretty much my thoughts on the episode. I'm going to be talking about Andor season 2, episodes 7, 8, and 9. Your Friends and Neighbor with the new John Hamm show, and other things as well. So don't worry, we're not getting out of here quite yet. But send in Streamlabs or Super Chats. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Mike Joyce in the Streamlabs says, I saw that Tara Erickson has merch with Dead Moms Club on it. When are we getting merch with DPC on it from you? I don't know if I'm going to do that for merch, but maybe I should. Is that a Real Rejects thing that she has? I know she dropped a Ring the Bell merch for Real Rejects. Let me know. To me, Dead Parents Club encompasses it all, right? You have a dead parent. Unfortunately, Ellie's in the DPC many times over. Many, many times over. It all comes back to that. Thank you, Mike, for that support. Thank you to RQMDSMD, to Jamal, to Mike Joyce, and to Sexy Andrew for being our super chatters and Streamlabsers of the day so far. Continue to send in Streamlabs and super chats if you want me to continue doing a Sunday show. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you're watching this week. What was your favorite show? What was your least favorite show? What are your thoughts on The Last of Us and Andor? Okay, before I talk about Andor, I want to talk about Your Friends and Neighbors. It's just briefly because the show isn't over yet. We're in the middle of it, but I've been talking every week about The Studio, which is an Apple show that I love. And every week that I go to click on the studio, a show called Your Friends and Neighbors has been popping up. I think these might have aired starting the same week. So finally, I was like, okay, I want to watch this because it keeps popping up. And on the top 10 Apple TV shows right now, the studio is number 2. Your Friends and Neighbors is number 1. A couple of you guys have recommended this to me. I think Leonard Kim recommended it. So I was like, all right, let me just check this out. And so the way that it starts, and I won't give away what's happened yet because I think not enough of you guys are watching it. But the way it starts, I was just like, oh, okay, this is going to be a show about rich people and how rich people be cheating on each other and how they be operating. And by the end of the first episode, I was like, oh, whoa, what's this show? That's wild. What just happened? I thought this was really, really, it's really well done. It's really fun. John Hamm is an absolute stud in this. Amanda Peet is amazing. Olivia Munn is awesome. Great performers. Really, really liking it. Liking the dynamics. It is intense. It's funny at times. It's sexy at times. I really recommend the show. So if you're looking for a new show to watch, it is a drama, but it's definitely got comedic moments. And it's great to see John Hamm back on my screen or a week. I say back on. Do you guys know I never watched all of Mad Men? I need to watch that with Graham. I think that's a good one for us to binge. So good. So good. Definitely recommend it. Anybody watching it? Oh, Leonard, you think it's neither great nor bad? Interesting. At first I was like, and now I'm super into it. Really, really good. I like it a lot. I recommend it. I like the studio better, but they're completely different. Again, send in any Streamlabs super chats, whatever you guys are watching. Handmaid's Tale. I need them to give me a victory. That's all I'll say about that this week. Give me a victory or else I am just going to feel horrible about watching you for every week for years. Please give me a victory. Dear God, give me a victory. I can't keep watching it like this. I feel twitchy and out of sorts. Please. In life, we have so many L's right now. Please give me a victory. Please. All right, that's my thoughts on Handmaid's Tale this week. Mobland is excellent. Really good. Tom Hardy, so good. Helen Mirren, this is like my favorite role of hers in so long. I've never seen, there's not a lot of women that have roles like this. And watching what she's able to do with it, it's very cool. And I think that she deserves an Emmy nomination for it. I really do. It's great work from her. I love 1923 and her in the show, but this is her A+, really excellent. Hacks, this episode brought me to tears. This week's episode brought me to tears. There is, in case you guys haven't watched it, there is a scene by the ocean that I felt like daggers in my chest about. I was like, and then there's a conversation that takes place after that I was so here for. I mean, I cannot wait for the rest of the show this season. I understand why this show wins Emmys. Hacks is must-watch TV. Really, really good. Really good. Told you guys I binged the 4 seasons, finished it. I liked that. It's a good show, fun show. I watched the Conan special, Mark Twain special on Conan. Everybody brought the house down. I think that people really showed up for Conan. I loved what Sarah Silverman did. I always love what Nikki does. I think it was super fun to watch Adam Sandler, Camille. Great ways to represent Conan. And if you are a fan of Conan O'Brien, or you're just a fan of watching comedians roast, but also compliment other comedians, not as roasty as some other things are, but some of it was very, very funny. This is definitely for you. It's on Netflix, which makes it really accessible. I like watching the Mark Twain specials, and it was cool to see everybody show up for Conan. Very cool. Did anybody else watch the Conan special, the Mark Twain special honoring Conan at the Kennedy Center Honors, which was made jokes of many a times? Curious if you guys care about that kind of thing. I do like to cover here every once in a while specials, comedy specials, one-off episodes of things. Oh, good. Yeah, Brittany, if it's on your watch list, I think that you should check it out. I think it's worth people's time. So it was only like an hour and a half. I flew through it. It's So fun. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider. Thank you to Jamal, RQMDSMD, Mike Joyce, and the sexy Andrew himself. You guys are the only reason I'm able to be here right now, and I would appreciate the support. Also, it's Mother's Day, and I'm spending it with you guys. So, and I've been here for an hour. If y'all want me to continue on Sundays, show up to show out. We're going to talk Andor now. All right, guys, the moment of truth. What did Roxy think of Andor this week? What did she think? So Andor episode 7 happened, and I was like, okay, this is good. It was good. It was a good episode, whatever. Then episode 8 comes, and you're just like, oh my God, why is this episode so good? Now, I will say this because I don't like when people say, like, this show is amazing. You just have to get through 10 episodes in order to like it. The famous show the show that I've famously said this about, so famous, show that I've famously said this about is Parks and Rec. You know, anytime when I first started recommending Parks and Rec to people, I would be like, Parks and Rec is the greatest show. You just have to get through the first season. The first season's not that good, but then it's amazing. And it's like, if you did I go like that when the Last of Us conversation was over? I hope I did. If you have to sit through an entire season of not good, then I don't know how we can claim that the show is whatever. But for Andor, I've never thought that the show wasn't good. I've always thought that it was confusing and not clear to me. Episode 8 and 9 were perfectly clear to me. I was invested in characters I've never been invested before, like Mon Mothma. For the first time, I'm like, oh, okay. Cyril, for the first time, actually, I gave a crap about, even though not in like a I like him kind of way. He's still vicious. Deirdre, that's the blondie's name, right? Like people whose names I have not been able to remember, I was now zeroed in on them. But the biggest thing that I love, the thing that I love the most, Cassian and Bix. And there was a lot of Cassian in this, and this was Bix's shining moment for me so far. Now, I've heard people say, DJ as one of them, that he doesn't love that we didn't give Bix that much to do. Like that between in the year break that we have between the arcs, that Bix is clearly out doing things, but he wanted to see Bix kick ass. And I think we see little bits of that, but I understand. But Bix's decision, spoilers on Andor, Bix's decision to leave Cassian because she knows he has a greater purpose, that was one of the greatest moments in like Star Wars history because of the implications of that, because of her giving up her own happiness in order to help the rebellion in the best way that she can. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. But more so than that, the sound design of this episode, The Galaxy is Watching, it was just so well done, so heartbreaking. They had us all. And watching Mon Mothma give this speech, and it seemed like have genuine surprise the ramifications of this, because I think a lot of times in life we do the right thing and we think I'm going to do the right thing. Everybody's going to acknowledge and recognize I did the right thing because it's the right thing, so they are also going to agree. But she does the right thing and she's about to get whacked for it. And what that has to do to your mind to realize, oh my God, it's so many people. It's in the air. It's my colleagues. It's my friends. It's everywhere. The Empire has gotten to people. And I have to run. So for me to care about Mon Mothma, when I've been saying for a season and a half, I don't care. And I cared so much. I think that means that this episode 8 did an excellent job. And then episode 9 was a wonderful follow-up to it. Really, really powerful stuff. Very happy with Andor this week. I'm hoping that the next 3 episode arc I like, because everybody keeps talking about, of the 3 episode arcs, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? This is the third one. Everybody keeps saying the third one is the strongest. And so it's kind of like, no wonder that I loved this. Is the next one, is the episodes 10, 11, and 12 going to be as strong for me? And is Bix going to be in them at all? Because Bix is my favorite character. So, and I love Cassian also, but I do want to see more Bix. Cassian coming to Bix and being like, it's you, I choose you, let's just go be happy, is so heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Not as heartbreaking, though, as watching everybody be murdered. Ugh. And then turning on our TV screens and watching more of that. It's like, in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar, Jamal says, Roxy, did you add 1,000 blows to your watch list? What is that? 1,000 blows. Let's see. Did you already tell me about this? I'm sorry if I forget. Oh, you did tell me about this. This is the Hulu show with the guy that was in Adolescence. Yes, you told me about this a few weeks ago. But you're the only one who's told me about this. I kind of need a few recs before I add something. It's got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 90 on Rotten Tomatoes. Guys, should I watch this? 1,000 blows. Has anybody else seen it? Jamal, your recommendation matters to me. Don't think that it doesn't, but anybody else? Because it's so hard to cover so much TV. People drop the ball, Roxy. I believe you, Jamal. It does happen sometimes. This is like when I tried to get everybody to watch The Leftovers for years and nobody would watch. Kevin Meek in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Thank you for the big support. Kevin says, it's cool you are still doing your thing on a hard day. Keep it up. I have to peace out before Andor because I'm still catching up. Just wanted to support. Oh, sorry that I read this after that and you didn't get to see it. I really appreciate your support, Kevin. You might never hear this because you sent it in before you had to peace out, but just know that it means the world to me. And being here on the hard days, you guys make them a little bit easier. So hopefully I make your hard days a little bit easier, and the sense of community kind of helps. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Leonard Kim in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar says, first and foremost, congrats on the 5K, raising a ton of money. You crushed it. Thank you. I think people are sleeping on Doctor Who. It's incredible. Also, I binged Vanderpump Villa, and I don't know why I never watched Vanderpump Rules. Oh my God. ROFL. Finally, I'm into Andor. Yeah, Leonard, we have been like this, like totally aligned on Andor for the entire time. It's taken me this long too, but at least we got a couple episodes that you and I are really in on. Are we going to remain in on it? I don't know, my dude. I hope so, but anyway, thank you for that support. I can't believe you're watching Vanderpump Villa after never seeing Vanderpump. I've never watched Vanderpump either. Don't know that I would understand Vanderpump Villa. In terms of Doctor Who, I know that John and Greg love it, and they're watching it at Real Rejects. I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who, or I've never seen a season. I watched a couple of episodes for TV fights sporadically when I knew people were fighting specific moments or things. Ash, a new guy in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar says, happy Sunday. So the first Sunday is like ice cream, and the second Sunday is like the day of the week. Are you eating a sundae? I have ice cream. Oh, and we'll watch the replay later. Hope stream is good, and hope brain tumor walk/run went well. Thank you so much. Yeah, on Wednesday I'll tell you guys more about how that day went, because that's the day that I can talk more about stuff. But it did go well, and I really appreciate that. And enjoy your Sunday. Mike Joyce in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar says, why can't Tony Gilroy write all Star Wars shows? I don't know that that's what I want, even though I like him a lot. Episode 8 and 9 are the best TV I've watched in a long time. You think that episode 8 and 9 are as good as Severance or as good as Adolescence? Episode 8 was unbelievably well written, but it was also it was the technicality of it too. Give it all the Emmys. Wow, really? I agree that Bix needed more to do in the series. Maybe they'll make up for it in Ahsoka. It's only 11 years later. I didn't see the first season of Ahsoka, so that's not great for me. I thought Christian said that wouldn't make sense in the timeline, but I don't know. And I feel like most people thought that Bix was going to die by the end of this, but I don't know if that's right. I also just think that sometimes we think that Tony Gilroy, but not just him specifically, but people, like, we find an artist that does one thing well, and then we're like, let's just have them do that thing over and over again. And it's like, or maybe it was great because it was their one big take on this world, and we should let them kind of branch out. Also, I like the fact that they have things like Skeleton Crew, and Tony Gilroy would not be a good person to do Skeleton Crew. So I think it's cool to have a little variety. But I hear you, Mike. RQMDSMD and the Streamlabs, that big support. Thank you. Says just sending some support for TV Sunday. For me, Andor did pick up a lot this week. Studio is really good. Watched episodes 1 through 6 so far. Awesome. Yay. I'm super with you on Andor. Studio is really good. It's just funny and relevant, and it's great guest stars and cameos. So I'm glad you're liking it as much as I am. So good. Thank you. Shout out to RQMDSMD, Mike Joyce, Ash, Leonard Kim, Kevin Meek, Jamal, and to Sexy Andrew for being our super chatters and Streamlabsers of the day. We're not going to be here that much longer, but send in what shows you're watching and your highs and lows of the shows of the week. We talked about The Last of Us. We talked about Andor. We talked about Your Friends and Neighbors. We talked a little bit about Handmaid's Tale. We talked about Hacks. We talked about Mobland. The rehearsal aired tonight, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I did watch last week's. I think that this show is another must-see TV show of the year. It reminds me of how I felt about Jury Duty every week, where I'm like, are you guys watching this? Like, I wish I was watching with friends, because I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we a grown man drinking from a prosthetic nipple? If that doesn't get you excited about the show, I don't know what will. As you're dressed as Sully, the pilot, what is happening? What's happening? The Conan special we talked about a little bit. Just told you guys the 4 seasons, but I talked about that last week. I haven't started Poker Face back up yet, but I will watch season 2 of that. Also on my list of things that people told me about, Black Dove, I still didn't watch, and I didn't watch the show Lioness. So they remain in the back of my mind somewhere. I'm a little too busy watching Shark Tank. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Love Shark Tank. All right, in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Just taking whatever is left and then getting out of here. So send in any last minute ones before we go. DK says, I think Andor might be my favorite Star Wars anything. Glad you're sticking it out. Oh, that's cool, DK. I love that it's your favorite Star Wars anything. I get why. I mean, on paper, this show to me does what a great show does. It is commenting on our world through extreme scenarios that honestly our world make feel not so extreme. I mean, it is extreme, but I just mean doesn't make it feel like it's in a galaxy far, far away. But it's commenting on it, and it talks about good versus evil, these huge concepts, the individuals banding together, what people can do versus their governments. So I understand why this is some people's favorite, not only their favorite Star Wars property, but some people's favorite show in years. I do get it. It's just so complicated and confusing with all the names and the timelines and all the things that I've been having a hard time wrapping my brain around some of the concepts as a very casual fan. But 8 and 9, I was fully locked in, dialed in. My mind wasn't wandering. I understood who the characters were. I understood the motivations. I understood the risk versus reward. I understood. And so it felt good. It felt good to fully get it. By the way, is anybody watching Poker Face? Because I heard this season is meh. And I loved season 1, so I'd be bummed if season 2 is meh. Shout out to those who Streamlabs and super chatted in. Andrew Thomas, DK, RQMDSMD, Mike Joyce, Ash, Leonard Kim, Kevin Meek, Jamal. You guys are great and are the reason that I am able to continue doing the Sunday and Wednesday show for as long as I've been able to do it so far. I'm glad that the rest of you guys seem to be liking it. Thank you to the 100 plus of you guys who joined me live tonight to talk about The Last of Us. It's been really fun to talk Sunday TV on Sundays with you guys. A nice distraction from the absolute dumpster fire that Mother's Day was. If you're having a great Mother's Day, amazing. I'm so happy for you. Hopefully you got to spend it with your mom, or you are a mom and got to spend it with your kids, and that would be ideal. If you're having a trash one, guess what? It's 9 o'clock. Day's almost over. So we're just going to truck on through. All right, my friends. Seems like that is it. So I appreciate you guys being here. Stay safe, stay sane. Put down the toilet seat and lid. We don't want those flumes. Don't trend with the Holocaust. Justice for all of the people who've lost their lives due to excessive force. Why did I clap between that? Because oftentimes in the comments, people will be like, well, what about these people? And it's like, Do you guys not know what all of the people who have lost their lives due to excessive force? Unfortunately, it's too many humans to shout out all of them all over the world who continue to lose their lives due to excessive force. I read and it's not just with police brutality or war. I read a crazy story about a victim of an Uber driver the other day too. There's just so much. Anyway, I can't go down too much of a dark rabbit hole because it's nighttime. I'm about to let you guys go. So, wherever you're on the rainbow, we love you. We stand with the women of Iran, some of the bravest women we've ever seen. And shout out to the Zen one himself, Glenn Caesar, thinking about you. Much love, guys, and I will see you guys this week. I'm doing a fun event tomorrow for Real Rejects, so we'll be posting that on our social. I'm going to be watching tomorrow night Mission Impossible, so I'll be talking about that. I'll probably do a review on my social for that as well. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing Christian show, and I'm taping a bunch of stuff for Real Rejects this week, so you guys will be seeing that. On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing this live at the Roxy, but our therapy version. On Friday, I'll be with Only Stupid Answers. Thursday, I think an episode of my Real Rejects is airing, and then Sunday back here with you guys. And it'll also be my brother's birthday. So celebrate good times. Come on. There. This has been a long outro. It's been a long day. All right. That's all right. That's just anyway. That's it. That's Mumble City. And later, Gator. Bye.